In 2016, a global study by the University of California revealed a startling truth. More than 60% of adults aged 60 and above reported feeling socially drained, not because they were lonely, but because their connections no longer felt meaningful. Imagine that. The golden years, often painted as a time of connection and wisdom, quietly becoming a period of quiet discontent. It made me think of something the ancient philosopher Epicurus once said. It is not so much our friends' help that helps us, as the confidence of their help. But what happens when that confidence fades? What happens when the people we surround ourselves with begin to chip away at our peace instead of nurturing it? For me, that realization struck at 65. It wasn't sudden, it wasn't loud. It was a quiet awakening, a soft but persistent voice inside me that asked, what if the life you've always wanted is waiting for you? Not out there, but within you. That single question changed everything. It led me to embrace solitude, not as isolation, but as liberation. And today, I want to share why avoiding the noise of the world and the people in it was the best decision I've ever made. Hello, dear friends. My name is the Wisdom Professor, and welcome to Wisdom in Abundance, a community for elders and thoughtful individuals who are ready to step into their next chapter with clarity, purpose, and peace. This is a space for those who understand that the greatest wealth in life isn't money, but wisdom and the courage to live it. If you've ever questioned the noise in your life or longed for a place where timeless truths meet modern reflections, then you've found your home. I invite you to subscribe to this channel and join our growing circle of wisdom seekers. Here, you'll find not just insights, but tools to help you live with intention, embrace solitude, and thrive in the years you've earned. And don't stop there. Turn on notifications so you never miss our latest reflections, life hacks, and lessons for this beautiful stage of life. Together, let's create a community where wisdom flows freely and every story matters. Subscribe now and let's walk this journey together. Let me tell you a story. It was my 65th birthday, and like most birthdays, it started with good intentions. My family had organized a gathering, cakes, candles, laughter echoing through the room. But as the hours passed, I felt something I couldn't quite explain. I was surrounded by people who loved me, yet I felt disconnected. Every conversation felt like small talk, every interaction like a chore. I went home that night, sat in my favorite chair, and asked myself, why am I so tired? Why does this feel so empty? That moment sparked a change I didn't know I needed. Do you know why I'm referred to as the Wisdom Professor? It's not because I've lived a perfect life. It's because I've made mistakes, learned from them, and now I share those lessons. And here's one of the most profound things I've learned. Not all connections nourish you. Some simply exist out of habit, and those habits can drain your energy faster than anything else. Have you ever felt that way? Like you're stuck in the motions of saying yes to things that don't bring you joy? I realized that every yes I gave to unnecessary obligations was a no to myself, and that realization changed everything. I began saying no more often, not out of anger, but out of love for my own peace. And with each boundary I set, I discovered something remarkable. Solitude isn't lonely, it's empowering. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. It takes courage to step back, to be honest about the relationships and routines that don't serve you anymore. But I promise you, it's worth it. Because when you clear that space, you make room for what truly matters. Your happiness, your creativity, your peace. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly felt at peace? Not the kind of peace that comes from a quiet evening, but the deep, soul-restoring kind that makes you feel alive again. That's what we're talking about today. This video isn't just about avoiding people. It's about understanding why stepping back can be the most empowering decision you'll ever make. Think about someone like Keanu Reeves. He's one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, yet he's famously private and keeps his circle small. In interviews, he's spoken about how he values solitude, not to push people away, but to protect his energy and focus on what really matters in life. If someone who lives in the constant spotlight can carve out that kind of space for themselves, what's stopping the rest of us? In this video, I'll share the lessons I've learned from my own journey, how I went from feeling drained and overwhelmed to thriving in my own company. You'll discover why choosing solitude isn't about isolation, It's about rediscovering yourself. We'll explore how this simple mindset shift can unlock peace, boost your creativity, and give you the freedom to live life on your own terms. So, if you've ever wondered how to say no without guilt, how to create space for yourself without cutting ties entirely, or how to truly thrive in the years ahead, this is for you. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why solitude is a gift, you'll see how it can transform your life. Point 1. Protecting your energy. Have you ever noticed how some conversations leave you feeling lighter, while others weigh you down like an anchor? It's not just the words being said, it's the energy exchanged. Protecting your energy, especially at this stage of life, isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. Your energy is your life force. It fuels your joy, your creativity, and your ability to approach each day with clarity and purpose. But here's the truth, it isn't infinite. Think of your energy like a bank account. Every interaction, every obligation, every moment you give to others is a withdrawal. If you keep spending without depositing, without recharging, you'll find yourself emotionally overdrawn. And when that happens, what's left for you? That's the cost of unprotected energy. But why does this happen? And more importantly, what can you do about it? It happens because we've been conditioned to say yes when we should say no. We overextend ourselves, trying to be kind, trying to help, or simply out of habit. But here's the hard truth. Not every person or task deserves your time. Some people bring negativity, drama, or endless demands into your life, and every moment you spend with them is a moment you're taking away from yourself. Protecting your energy isn't about being rude, it's about being honest. Ask yourself, am I giving this person my energy because I truly want to, or because I feel I have to? That single question can reveal so much. I remember my friend Carol sharing her own journey with this. She's in her mid-60s and had spent years being the person everyone relied on. Her children, her neighbors, even acquaintances she barely knew. One day, after a long family gathering, she found herself sitting alone in her car, completely drained. She wasn't tired because of the physical effort. She was emotionally exhausted from trying to meet everyone else's expectations. That moment was her wake-up call. She told me, I realized I was pouring from an empty cup, and if I didn't stop, I wouldn't have anything left, not even for myself. That realization led her to start setting boundaries, and do you know what she found? When she protected her energy, she not only felt better, but her relationships became healthier. The people who truly cared about her respected her boundaries, and those who didn't, they slowly faded away, and she realized she didn't miss them at all. So how can you protect your energy? Start by identifying what drains you the most. Is it a particular relationship, a recurring obligation that feels more like a burden? Even certain habits, like endlessly scrolling through negative news, can sap your energy. Once you know what's draining you, take small but intentional steps to change it. For example, the next time someone asks you to do something that doesn't feel right, pause before you answer. Instead of automatically saying yes, try responding with, let me think about that and get back to you. This gives you time to evaluate whether it's worth your energy, and it shows others that your time and well-being are priorities. Here's the truth. Protecting your energy isn't about shutting people out. It's about letting the right things in. When you choose yourself, you create a space for peace, creativity, and joy to flourish. You rediscover who you are and what truly matters. So let me ask you, what's one thing in your life right now that you know is draining you? Once you identify it, take that first step toward letting it go. Your energy is sacred. Spend it wisely and watch how much fuller your days become. Point 2. The power of solitude. Solitude. Just hearing the word makes some people uneasy, doesn't it? We're taught from an early age that being alone is something to avoid, as if solitude is the same as loneliness. But let me tell you something. Solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is a gift, a sanctuary, and a mirror. It's where you meet yourself. And the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that solitude isn't just beneficial, it's essential. Think of someone like Oprah Winfrey. She's one of the most connected and influential people in the world, yet she's spoken openly about her love for solitude. She schedules regular time to sit quietly, to reflect, and to just be. Why? because she understands that solitude is where clarity lives. It's where you reconnect with your purpose, away from the noise and distractions of the world. If someone like Oprah, surrounded by endless demands, can prioritize solitude, shouldn't we all? Why is solitude so powerful? Because it gives you space to hear your own thoughts. In a world filled with constant noise, phones ringing, notifications buzzing, people talking, it's easy to lose yourself. You start to absorb other people's opinions, their expectations, their version of who you should be. But when you step into solitude, all that fades away. You start to hear a quieter voice, the one that's been there all along, your voice. And in that silence, you begin to understand what truly matters to you. When I first embraced solitude, it felt strange. I'd spent so much of my life filling every moment with something: TV, phone calls, busy work. But as I started spending time alone, I noticed something incredible. I began to rediscover parts of myself I hadn't seen in years. I found joy in the simplest things, like sitting in my garden, listening to the birds, or writing in a journal. I picked up hobbies I'd abandoned long ago. And for the first time in decades, I felt truly at peace. That's the power of solitude. It doesn't take anything away from you. It gives you back to yourself. So how can you start experiencing the benefits of solitude in your own life? It doesn't have to be complicated. Start small. Set aside just 15 minutes a day to be alone with your thoughts. You can sit quietly with a cup of tea, take a walk in nature, or write down whatever's on your mind. The goal isn't to do anything. It's to simply be. Over time, those moments of solitude will grow, and you'll begin to notice how much clearer, calmer, and more centered you feel. Here's why this matters. When you embrace solitude, you're no longer reacting to the world around you. You're creating your own world. You'll find it easier to make decisions because you'll know what you truly want. You'll feel more confident because you'll be grounded in your own values, not someone else's. And perhaps most importantly, you'll discover a deeper sense of peace because you'll no longer be chasing external validation. Solitude teaches you that you are enough, just as you are. So let me ask you, when was the last time you truly spent time with yourself? Not out of boredom or necessity, but as an act of love and self-care. If it's been a while, I encourage you to give it a try. Because the beauty of solitude is this: when you spend time alone, you're never truly lonely. You're with the one person who knows you best, and that's where the magic begins. Point 3. Quality over quantity in relationships. Let me take a moment to say this. If you're still here, you clearly value wisdom and growth, and I'm grateful for you. This channel, Wisdom in Abundance, was made for seekers like you. So as your wisdom professor, I invite you to subscribe and join this journey. After all, who couldn't use a little more wisdom in their life? Now, let's talk about relationships. You know, when I was younger, I thought the more friends you had, the better your life would be. I mean, isn't that what society teaches us? But let me tell you, having a long list of contacts doesn't mean much when your energy's being pulled in every direction. You could have 100 friends and still feel lonely, or you could have 3 genuine people in your corner and feel like the richest person alive. Even someone as famous and successful as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has spoken about this. You'd think a Hollywood star and global icon would have an entourage of close friends, but in an interview he said he keeps his circles small. Really small. He values relationships that are real, where there's mutual respect and authenticity. He said something that stuck with me. It's not about the number of people around you, it's about the quality of the people around you. If The Rock can figure this out in the whirlwind of fame, so can we. I remember my own turning point when it came to relationships. I used to think I had to keep everyone happy, family, coworkers, neighbors. But there was this one day, it was during a neighborhood block party of all things, where I realized I was surrounded by people, yet I felt completely alone. I was making small talk, smiling politely, but inside I felt disconnected. That night, I sat down and asked myself, why am I spending so much time with people who don't truly see me? That question changed my life. I started focusing on the relationships that uplifted me, friends who genuinely cared, family members who made me feel seen. And do you know what happened? My life got lighter, more joyful, and a whole lot simpler. Now, I'm not saying you should ditch all your acquaintances and become a hermit. I mean, unless you want to. And if you do, hey, I won't judge. But the point is, relationships should add value to your life, not drain it. It's like that old saying, it's better to have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. The pennies might make more noise, but the quarters are where the value is. So, how do you focus on quality over quantity in your relationships? Start by asking yourself one simple question. Does this person bring me joy, support, or authenticity? If the answer is yes, nurture that connection. Make time for meaningful conversations, show up for them, and let them show up for you. If the answer is no, it's okay to step back. It doesn't mean you don't care. It just means you're prioritizing your peace and well-being. You don't need a big circle to feel fulfilled. You need a strong one. Even if that circle is just a handful of people who truly understand you, that's more than enough. And the best part? When you focus on the right people, your energy naturally increases because you're no longer pouring into empty cups. So let me ask you, who are your quarters? Who are the people who truly add value to your life? Take a moment to appreciate them, and if you can, let them know how much they mean to you. And for those of you watching this, thank you for being part of this journey. Point 4. Practical ways to enjoy solitude. Solitude doesn't have to feel empty. It can be one of the richest experiences of your life. The beauty of being alone is that it gives you the freedom to explore what truly brings you joy without distraction or judgment. But here's the secret. The key to enjoying solitude is not to wait for inspiration to strike, but to create it. One of the first things I did when I started embracing solitude was rediscovering my love for walking. Not just for exercise, but for the sheer joy of it. There's something magical about stepping outside with no destination in mind, letting your thoughts wander as the world moves around you. Walking became my moving meditation. It cleared my mind, lifted my mood, and reconnected me with the present moment. Another thing I discovered was the power of learning something new. Solitude opens up time, and time is an incredible gift when used wisely. For me, it was learning to play the harmonica. A skill I never thought I'd try, but one that brought so much joy once I did. Maybe for you, it's picking up that guitar collecting dust in the corner, or finally trying your hand at watercolor painting. The activity itself isn't the point. It's the act of giving yourself permission to create, to try, to grow. Why is this so important? Because creativity and exploration are fuel for the soul. They remind you that life is about more than just going through the motions. It's about experiencing wonder, even in the simplest of things. Solitude gives you the chance to connect with your inner child, that curious part of you that wants to try something new just for the fun of it. If you're not sure where to start, here's a simple tip. Think back to something you loved as a kid. Was it writing stories, planting flowers, or building things with your hands? Start there. Even if it's just for 15 minutes a day, dedicate that time to reconnecting with something you've always loved, or something you've always wanted to try. And if you're looking for inspiration, let nature be your guide. Sit outside with a journal, take a book to the park, or just close your eyes and listen to the wind. Solitude paired with nature has a way of grounding us like nothing else. The beauty of solitude is that it's entirely yours. It's your time to nurture your passions, explore your thoughts, and reconnect with the essence of who you are. And when you give yourself that space, you'll find that solitude isn't lonely at all. It's liberating. So what's one thing you've always wanted to try but never made time for? Start there, and let solitude be the doorway to a life richer and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. Retirement is often painted as the golden years, a time to rest, to enjoy the fruits of your labor, to be surrounded by family and friends. But what no one tells you is how much of it is about transition. Your career, which once gave you purpose, is no longer there. Your health, once taken for granted, demands more care. Even your relationships shift. Children grow up and have their own lives, friends move away, and some connections simply fade over time. I remember when I first retired. For the first few months it felt like a vacation. No deadlines, no stress. But then a strange emptiness crept in. I'd wake up in the morning and think, what now? The busyness that had once defined my days was gone, and I was left with silence. At first that silence felt like a loss. But slowly, I realized it wasn't a loss, it was an opportunity. an opportunity to rebuild my life around what truly mattered: my health, my passions, and the people who brought real meaning to my days. Life is full of seasons. Some are busy and loud, filled with people and activity. Others are quieter, more reflective. But here's the beautiful thing about this stage of life. It gives you permission to let go of what no longer serves you, to focus on your health, not just your physical health, but your emotional and spiritual well-being, to spend time with family, not out of obligation, but out of love, to cherish the relationships that truly uplift you and release the ones that don't. At this stage, I've learned that avoiding people doesn't mean shutting out the world. It means creating space for the things that truly matter: peace, purpose, authenticity. These aren't just words, they're the foundation of a life well lived. So let me ask you, what could you gain by embracing a little more solitude in your life? What could you discover about yourself, about your purpose, about the joy that still exists all around you? Life is too short to spend on things that don't bring you joy. It's too precious to waste on shallow connections or meaningless obligations. As I sit here, sharing these reflections with you, I'm reminded of the incredible power we all have to shape our lives, even now, especially now. So take a moment to breathe, to reflect, to embrace the quiet. And remember, this isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a beautiful new chapter. Now let's make this a conversation. How do you feel about solitude? Is it something you've embraced, or does the thought of it still make you uneasy? What's one thing in your life that you think might change if you gave yourself just a little more space to breathe, to reflect, and to truly be? And here's something else I'd love to know. What's a life hack or piece of wisdom you'd like me, your wisdom professor, to explore in the next video? Maybe it's about navigating relationships, finding purpose after retirement, or even managing those quiet moments that sometimes feel overwhelming. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your stories, your questions, and your ideas are what make this community so special. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to hit that like button. It helps more people discover these conversations. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Wisdom in Abundance so you never miss the next insight, reflection, or story. Don't forget to ring the bell too, so we can keep walking this journey together. Your life, your story, and your wisdom matter. And together, we're creating a space where those things can thrive. Thank you for being here. You're not just a viewer, you're part of this circle. Until next time, take care of yourself, cherish your solitude, and remember, the best chapters of your life are still waiting to be written.